Okay, so I am James Pauke from Block A4 of AP Computer Science, and the article I decided to examine was the ethics of computer generated actors, the ethical challenges of CGI actors in films. So basically, what this article encompasses is a couple of examples about CGI actors resurrected after their passing, and a couple of films they were in, and it kind of offers a neutral opinion, I would say, but I have my own position about the issue. And the color coding would be blue is for impactful statements, green is for positives of CGI actors, and the red is for negatives, I consider. So, an impactful opinion that this kind of has, and also I will go along and answer the questions. So, what was being digitized? The actors in this image are like kind of the actor's image is preserved for movies after they die. And they have CGI has often just been used for backgrounds and effects, special effects, but now it is being used to bring back actors from the dead. Um, So this is kind of like how this ethical issue emerges. So de-aging actors has been a very common CGI practice, and while there is some ethical dilemma about that, it is much less of an important problem because actors are alive and can consent for that, as compared with dead actors digitally remade with CGI. Um, and I'm not trying to say that. And while my position is that CGI actors are definitely not great, I'm not trying to get rid of the original usage for CGI, such as digitally de aging or creating like grand spectacles and great effects and backgrounds. Because I, quite frankly, was a big fan of when Marvel and the Lord of the Rings movies came out, and they exemplified what CGI could do in the animations department. And what is the goal of digitizing this thing? Similar to digital landscapes, the goal of CGI actors is to include the character in future movies. So, a very common example, or a recent example, was when Paul Walker died just 7 years ago in 2013 during the filming of the Fast and Furious 7. He was digitally remade um, for the movie, and he his his brothers stepped in to kind of provide like a form, I guess, similar to him. And this is the first real time that CGI actors caught the attention of many people, and it was considered odd. But so I'm hesitant to say that this is kind of bad because it may have brought out grief from the brothers to kind of like act like that, but they were alive, unlike Paul Walker. Many argue this was the best course of action, and I tend to agree with this. Like, this is a positive of the digitally of the CGI is you can actually preserve the character in a film and preserve their work because he was halfway through the filming, and well, are you just gonna throw all of that out? He was like remembered in that movie, and in 2016, Rogue One came out, and this is when the CGI ethical dilemma really emerged because Grand Moff Tarkin was originally paid by Peter Cushing in the 1977 A New Hope, but he died in 1994, and this movie came out 20 years after that. Um, and so, by like trying to make the story of Rogue One line up with A New Hope because it happens like before that, they made a CGI version of Grand Moff Tarkin, And they got consent from Peter Cushing's estate. Um, and so I guess this was, in this example, they got consent from Peter Cushing's estate, but also in this movie, which I think this article did a bad job because it doesn't point out, because this movie also CGI rendered Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia, but she was alive at the time. Even though she died the same year, she was able to consent. They had a younger actress that looked like Carrie Fisher did when she was alive when she was acting in 1977, play the young Princess Leia character. So I believe this is a great example to look at both sides of the issue, the consenting and the non-consenting version. So I don't think that CGI should just incorporate dead actors just because they align with the story arc or anything. If Peter Cushing, Grand Moff Tarkin, was that important of a character, they might have just reworked the story or something. I don't think like that is ethical to just do it for the story. So they did decide to, upon film's release, have him animated, have him CGI. The result of this edition of Grand Moff Tarkin in the final cut sent shockwaves. So it was a really big concern. So it applied, as I said, it applied CGI not only to him, but also to Princess Leia. But Princess Leia's CGI did not appear to cause much havoc or much discontent. But I believe that's because of the consent that Carrie Fisher provides. Rich Harity, who was an actor, and he said this thing, which I can tend to agree with. He brings up a good point, which is that if the character is shown alive, but you know that this is virtual, the veil isn't there. Like, fans, in fact, know this is a CGI character, and it's kind of unnerving to watch. I respect the goal of CGI. CGI is to bring back dead actors and kind of render the film a little better and make it smoother. But this is kind of the crux of my position. You can't consent to having your face used if you're a dead man. And one of the questions was, is someone benefiting from this situation? Yeah, I believe the movie producers are getting to include the character without the actor and can make more movies with them. So in the future, there might be a Grand Moff Tarkin spin-off movie. So how can we assure that such a post-mortem uses are consistent with the actor's uses? We we don't know what Peter Cushing wanted. Families might even exploit a successful family member, and this problem is kind of exacerbated. And that was one of the questions: someone losing in the situation. Yeah, like Peter Cushing, although he's not alive and he doesn't know what's happening, his likeness is being used. And what if his wish was never to be in another Star Wars film? And this film, so I worry about this too. Deepfake technology is another branch, because deepfake technology is basically AI to mask images onto another video, so it looks like one person is doing something in a video they're not. And I'm concerned about this too, because deepfake technology and CGI can do a great job in movies, but they could be used maliciously, especially if the technology catches up soon. And do I believe this is good? Ultimately, do I believe this is good? I think there are pros and cons, and I do believe it is good if used correctly. I don't think CGI will always be used correctly, but I think overall it is a good decision to go down this route. So that was 10 minutes.